What's up, everybody? Okay, so yesterday I cried. My goodness, I've never cried like that in a very long time. The ugliest and longest cry I've ever had in a very long time. I think the last time I cried like that was when my mom died in 2005. So it's about 16 years since I last cried like that. So you can imagine how bad it must be. You know, when you actually sit down sometimes and you go through the stuff that you've done, the decisions that you've made, the wrong decisions that you've made, and you actually contemplate, sometimes all you just have to do is cry. And that's what happened yesterday. I cried, guys. I cried. I think in the words of Iyanla, I cried until my ears hurt. Okay, so let me actually give you the full story, right? So last year is 2020. So last year around November, December, I was working with a couple of guys on some ideas. One of the ideas we submitted to the SABC, I think towards the end of November. I think it was actually the reason why we started the whole writers thing together. And we thought that, you know what, let's just continue because, you know, the vibe was there and we worked so well together, we needed to continue the ritual. And you know what, serendipitously, there was a call for, there was this presidential, fund stimulus thing that was happening. They were giving production companies and arts organizations, money to, retain jobs and for business recovery and things like that, right? And during that time, we were like, oh my goodness, this is such a great idea. I mean, a great initiative. So we're like, you know what, let's just work towards submitting to that fund. I think 100 million or something odd million rand, and it was money that was available and that needed to be given to some people. So we continued working. I had already an idea of a documentary which I had already developed. I just needed to rework it, and there was we were also working on another reality competition that was created by this other lady that we were working with. And then we continued working together. They extended the deadline for this presidential funding thing, and at that time it was the beginning of December last year. A friend of mine asked me to be on a commercial, because they needed somebody there, and there wasn't so much that I was doing at the office. So I was like, you know what, might as well, because I also needed the money. My siblings were coming this side of Cape Town and I needed, an extra cash. I was like, you know what, a couple of thousands, why not, right? So I was like, you know what, guys, let's work during the night. When I come back from the office, we can work, well, not my office, but the other company's office. Let's meet after that and then we will work on your idea together. Guys, the biggest mistake of my life. Till this day, I still regret that decision that I made because it was the worst decision of my entire career. Here's why. So when I started working on that commercial, usually I actually don't like commercials. I don't like freelancing. I don't like, being under somebody. And, there are people that I really like to work with outside of my current office. But I just try to avoid that drama that comes with working for somebody else in the entertainment industry, right? I'd rather have, creative control and all these things. I know, but yeah, that's just me. So I started working for that production company. I think it was from Monday until Friday, yes, because I had to go somewhere on Saturday. But yeah, it was oh man, it was just terrible, guys. I think when you are not supposed to be somewhere, things will go wrong left, right, and center. I think that job made me feel less competent, less able, less creative, less everything. the people that I actually worked with, some of them were great people. I think the people that are actually on top are the problem, because sometimes when you have power and you can use it however you want, you can actually do exactly that. You can do it however you want, and you can abuse it, right? And talk to people however you want, right? And that's dangerous. And I try to avoid that by just being where I am now. So yeah, it was terrible. I felt out of place. I felt like, you know what, actually, let me be honest. When people actually work on a commercial outside of being creative, I kind of feel like, let me just say, in production, for me, let me actually speak from my side, right? Commercials are heavy. They are heavy work. When you actually work on a commercial, it feels like everything else around you just shuts up. Everything just dies, and you are fully committed to that commercial, like mentally. As somebody who's creative and likes like generating ideas, commercials in production, as like a coordinator, manager, or whatever, no, it's never gonna work for me. I've made peace with it. It's unless I'm actually at a desperate, situation, which I'm going to try and avoid. I don't think I see myself working on a commercial. I'm diverting. Anyway, the commercial was terrible. It didn't go the way I wanted to be. It was just, I just felt out of place. I just felt like I didn't have to be there. And I promised the guys that I was working with that, you know what, in the evenings, we will work together. We will dedicate a couple of hours to polish the ideas and all that. In the evenings, I come back really tired. I come back exhausted. I come back overworked. There came a time where I actually felt like I was slipping away from the team, and I think by the third day I was actually out. I was like completely out, because I'd come back at like 10 or 8 and I'm so tired. I want to sleep early so that I can wake up early. Long hours without overtime. So the second last day of the shoot was actually the deadline for that, fund thing, right? I got home at around 11 because we were shooting way out of town, and it was like an hour's drive, and there was stuff it was just a mess on set, guys. It was just one of the the most horrible shoot I've ever been in, And then I got home. I tried to work on the documentary proposal that I already had developed to try and submit. I finished everything quickly, and then I go to the website. The website is closed. It was 11:30 p.m. The website is closed. I cannot submit. You've missed the deadline. I feel like, oh my goodness. Honestly speaking, at that time, it was not like, oh my gosh, I just missed the biggest opportunity of my life. It was actually more like, I just missed another opportunity. It's okay, I'll just find another one and apply. But actually, when I sat down and thought about this properly, I was like, you know what? The money was there. The money was a lot, and the money was there. It just needed somebody to take it. Like I said in one of my videos, I believe that I'm one of the most creative people on earth, right? And I believe that had I applied, I probably would have gotten, the approval. Actually, talking about approval, yesterday, the reason why I was actually crying, like the ugliest and longest cry of my life, was because the names of the people that got approved came out, and I sat there and there was like so many names, and I see 400,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this could have been me. I could have been one of these people. My name could have been here with like 1 million next to it. I decided to go and do a commercial that was paying me a couple of thousands, and I threw away an opportunity where I probably would have gotten 500,000 or or 1 million or 2 million or whatever, and it probably would have springboarded my career. It probably would have launched my career to another level. I messed that up. That's why I was crying yesterday. Yesterday was probably, when you actually realized that you actually effed up. I'm Christian. I normally don't swear or anything like that. That's why I actually used F. Anyway, when you actually see that you've messed up and there's nothing you can do about it, and it's not even the situation where you are trying to console yourself like, you know what, it was meant to be. It was meant to be so that you can learn from it. It wasn't even like that. It was a terrible worst decision of my career that I've ever done, and I'm regretting it even today because I made the wrong decision. I decided to choose the temporary, stupid small money over something that would have probably changed my life and other people's lives, right? So it's a learning curve. It's a learning opportunity. Although I don't want to try and make myself feel better by saying that it happened because of a learning opportunity. No, it was just a terrible decision, and I'm regretting it. But I also don't want to miss the opportunity to learn from it. As a person with ambition and with wild dreams and things that are just happening in your brain, I think the best thing you can do for yourself is to take risks, because I do believe that when you do take those risks, sometimes they don't pay off, but sometimes they do pay off quite handsomely. And it's not even about the money. And that's one thing I'm also realizing, that sometimes when you're actually chasing after money will actually run away from it. And that's what I did. I was chasing money on that job, and I actually was chasing that money away instead of me actually operating in my purpose, which is to be creative, to do stories, and and do what I'm actually meant to be, what I feel inside of me. And that's what I want to encourage all of us to do. This video might be a little bit longer than usual, but I hope that you can take something from this biggest mistake of my career, that sometimes safe isn't the best. Sometimes comfort isn't the best. So yeah, I really hope that this video does enlighten you in some way, because for me, guys, it really broke me. It broke me to pieces, and I cried, guys. When that cry, that cry where there's just like wet toilet paper all around you because you were like snotting and crying. It was just sad. Yeah, there really does come a time where the only thing that you need to do is just to cry, because words cannot really express how you feel, and crying is the best way to express the feeling, really. So yeah, let me not drag this video way longer than it should be. Thank you for watching this. I hope you learned something, because I am learning something, and I do hope you take some time before you decide on anything that concerns your future. Like, sit down properly. Don't rush into that decision because you're trying to make a friend happy or whatever, right? Make a decision that makes you happy, that makes your family happy, and that makes your future happy. Sit down and think about it creatively. How is this gonna benefit me in 2 years' time? How is me getting 2,000 Rand gonna benefit me in 3 years' time? Do you get me? So that's I think I'm starting to learn to think long term now. Yeah, guys, thank you for watching this, and see you guys on the next video.